Have you ever experienced the strange moment when someone who once rejected you suddenly comes back into your life? Maybe they disappeared without a word, told you directly that they weren't interested, or treated you in a way that left you feeling unvalued. You picked yourself back up, began the slow work of healing, and started moving forward. You might have even found new peace, new happiness, or new goals, and then, just as you're finding your balance again, they reappear. It's disorienting. You wonder why. Why now? What does this mean? It's a situation many people find themselves in, and yet it always feels personal when it happens. There's a part of you that wants to understand. Did they change? Do they regret what they did? Are they hoping for a second chance? Or is there another reason altogether? The truth is, there's no single reason why someone might return after rejecting you. But what's important is recognizing that their reappearance doesn't necessarily mean you should let them back in. Just because someone wants to re-enter your life doesn't mean they deserve to. It's hard, because we often hold on to the version of them we once wished they'd be, the potential, the memories, the hope that things could be different. And when they come back, that small flicker of hope can light up again. But clarity is essential. You have to take a step back and evaluate not just their words, but their motives and their behavior. Are they coming back because they truly care, or because something in their life changed? Are they thinking about you, or just about what they're missing? When someone reappears after walking away, it's not always a sign to open the door. Sometimes, it's a reminder of how far you've come and how much more you deserve. One of the most common reasons someone comes back after rejecting you isn't love or regret, it's ego. As hard as that may be to hear, it's the truth. When someone has grown used to the attention you gave them, the thoughtful messages, the emotional support, the compliments, the energy, you become a source of validation in their life. And when that validation disappears, it creates a void. They may not have appreciated it when it was there, but once it's gone, they start to feel its absence. Suddenly, they're no longer the center of your focus, and that stings their pride. What's important to understand is that in these cases, they aren't missing you as a person. They're missing the feeling they got from being wanted by you. It's a subtle but powerful difference. When someone comes back just to feel admired again, they're not returning with the intention of giving, they're returning to receive. They want to know they still have you, that if they reach out, you'll respond, that your door is still open. And once they get that reassurance, they often retreat just as quickly as they came. This kind of behavior can be incredibly confusing. It can feel like they're interested, like maybe they've changed, but in reality, it's often a temporary emotional fix for them. It's your job to recognize it for what it is. You are not responsible for soothing someone else's ego, especially someone who didn't value you the first time. The moment you stop feeding that attention, they might disappear again, proving that the return wasn't genuine. Protect your peace. You've grown past the version of yourself who needed their approval. You don't need to be someone's emotional crutch just because they suddenly remembered how good your attention felt. Another reason someone might come back into your life after rejecting you is rooted in fear, specifically the fear of missing out. It might not have hit them right away, but as time passes and they begin to observe you from a distance, maybe through social media, mutual friends, or just the silence itself, they start to realize you're moving on. You're smiling more, doing things you didn't do before, maybe even glowing in ways they never expected. And that realization, that you're thriving without them, triggers something deep within, a sense of loss, a fear that they let go of something good. That fear can masquerade as longing, but don't be fooled, it's often more about them than it is about you. In their mind, they begin to romanticize the version of you that's now out of reach. They start thinking, what if I made a mistake? Or, what if someone else sees what I didn't? That uncertainty, that possibility that someone else might get to experience what they took for granted, is what drives them to suddenly resurface. But this return isn't necessarily rooted in love, growth, or deep reflection. It's rooted in the discomfort of seeing you happy without them, and the fear that they've missed their chance. There's a danger in this, because their motivation is reactive. They aren't coming back because they've done the work or truly want to build something stronger. They're reacting to your progress, your strength, your glow. And once they feel reassured that they still have access to you, that fear starts to fade, and so might their effort. So before you let someone back in, ask yourself, are they drawn to you, or to the idea of not having you? Because someone who truly values you won't need to lose you just to see your worth. Not every return is selfish or rooted in insecurity. Sometimes, someone comes back because they've truly reflected, grown, and come to a painful realization they messed up. This kind of return comes from a place of genuine regret and awareness, not just discomfort or loneliness. Time and distance have a way of putting things into perspective. When someone no longer has access to you, they may begin to understand just how much you brought into their life. They start to feel the absence, not just of your attention, but of your presence, your energy, your support, the very things they took for granted when you were around. When it's genuine, the way they come back will feel different. There won't be vague texts or subtle likes on social media. There will be effort. There will be clear words, real accountability, and a willingness to take responsibility for the past. They won't try to minimize what they did or brush over the hurt. Instead, they'll acknowledge it directly and make it clear that they understand the pain they caused. And most importantly, they won't expect forgiveness right away. They'll be patient, showing you through consistent actions, not just promises that they're willing to do the work to regain your trust. This kind of regret is rare, but it's powerful. It doesn't just say, I miss you, or it says, I've changed. I understand. I want to make things right. But even then, the choice is still yours. You are not obligated to accept someone back just because they've grown. You can acknowledge their change while still choosing to protect your peace. Because real love doesn't pressure you. It shows up humbly, consistently, and with respect for your boundaries. If they're back for the right reasons, they'll prove it not just once, but over time. There's a particular kind of return that can be the most frustrating and emotionally confusing of all when someone comes back simply out of curiosity. They're not here to fix things, not here to apologize or rebuild. They're just testing the waters. Maybe they haven't heard from you in a while. Maybe they saw a photo of you looking happy or heard through the grapevine that you're doing well, and suddenly, they feel a nudge of curiosity. Would they still talk to me? Could I still have a place in their life if I wanted it? So they send that casual message, hey, how have you been? Like no time has passed. Or maybe they don't even message at all. Maybe they just start liking your posts, watching your stories, or leaving vague comments that don't mean much, but are clearly designed to be noticed. This kind of behavior is not only unhelpful, it's unfair. It stirs up old feelings without offering any real clarity or direction. They're not making a move, but they're not fully letting go either. They want to know the door is still open without having to actually walk through it. It's like emotional breadcrumbing, giving you just enough to keep you thinking, wondering, hoping, but never enough to build anything meaningful. If you're not careful, it's easy to get caught in this trap. You start overanalyzing their messages, wondering if there's more to it. You might even start engaging again, hoping this time it's real. But more often than not, their curiosity fades just as quickly as it sparked, and you're left exactly where you were before, only more emotionally drained. You deserve more than someone who's indecisive about you. You deserve clarity, commitment, and intention. If someone is only half showing up, they don't deserve a front row seat in your life.